There is nothing more frustrating to someone who tries to break you than to see you standing stronger than ever. When a man hurts you, whether in love, in betrayal, or in words, his expectation is simple. He wants you to react in a way that proves he still controls your emotions. But what if I told you that the greatest way to confuse him is to rise above in a way he never expected? You see, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. The world has trained us to respond to pain with anger, resentment, and sometimes even revenge. But that is the reaction of the weak. The truly strong understand a divine principle. When someone hurts you, they do not define you. Instead, they reveal something about themselves. And when you master this truth, you no longer react, you respond with wisdom. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes I will show you the secret that will leave those who try to break you confused, speechless, and powerless over your destiny. The strength of unpredictability. A man expects you to cry, to chase, to crumble. Instead, shock him with your peace. Do not give him the satisfaction of seeing you broken. Give him the sight of you rising higher than ever. The greatest confusion to the enemy is a woman who refuses to be controlled by pain. The power of emotional control. People who hurt others feed off the emotional reactions they create. They feel power when they can manipulate your emotions. But when you remain composed, joyful, and unmoved, you strip them of that power. Turn the pain into a platform. Every great woman in history has turned her pain into a stepping stone. When they expect you to break, you build. When they thought you would be bitter, you become better. This is divine wisdom. Transform pain into purpose, and you will leave those who hurt you in awe. Forgiveness, the most confusing weapon. Forgiveness is not about letting them go. It is about setting yourself free. Nothing confuses a person more than when you show grace where they expected resentment. Forgiveness does not mean you allow them back into your life. It means you no longer allow them to control your peace. The ultimate confusion, thriving beyond betrayal. There is no revenge greater than success. There is no payback more satisfying than growth. When a man who hurt you sees that his actions had no power to stop your destiny, he is left in confusion. The woman he tried to break has become a force he can no longer define. So the next time someone tries to hurt you, do not give them your pain, give them your power. Do not waste your energy proving your worth to someone who was blind to it in the first place. Instead, elevate, grow, and let your success be the answer they never expected. Because the greatest confusion you can give to those who hurt you is this: you were never their victim, you were always victorious. When someone intentionally hurts you, they often have a calculated expectation of how you will react. They anticipate tears, anger, desperation, or even retaliation. This is because pain, when inflicted, is meant to provoke a response that validates the one who caused it. But the most powerful way to disarm someone who has wounded you is to respond in a way they never saw coming. Strength is not always in resistance, nor is it in attack. Sometimes the greatest display of power is in composure, in silence, in moving forward without looking back. When a man expects you to crumble, you must stand taller. When he expects you to beg for answers, you must remain unbothered. The mind of someone who seeks to control your emotions thrives on knowing that they still hold a piece of your heart, your peace, or your security. The moment you show them that their actions have no grip on your spirit, they become powerless. This is not about pretending to be strong. It is about truly understanding that your worth was never dependent on another person's validation. People who inflict pain often seek confirmation that they matter in your life. They want to see the ripple effects of their actions. They want to know that their betrayal has left a wound that only they can heal. But when you confuse them by refusing to give them that satisfaction, they are forced to question their own significance. Strength in the face of hurt is not about bottling emotions or denying pain. It is about shifting the focus from them to you. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" ask, "What does this pain teach me about myself?" A person who is deeply rooted in their purpose does not collapse under the weight of betrayal. They use it as fuel to elevate. When a man expects you to react in ways that keep him at the center of your world, show him that you have already built a world where he is no longer needed. There is something deeply unsettling to someone who once held power over you when they realize that their absence did not weaken you, but refined you. The strength of unpredictability is in the refusal to play the game as expected. It is choosing peace over chaos, elevation over desperation, wisdom over impulse. It is understanding that the most unsettling thing for someone who has hurt you is seeing you flourish despite them. It is knowing that the moment you shift your energy from proving your worth to living in your purpose, you have already won. Emotional control is one of the most powerful weapons you can possess when someone hurts you. The world teaches us that pain should be met with reaction, anger, tears, confrontation, or even revenge. But the truth is, the moment you let someone dictate your emotions, you hand them control over your life. People who hurt others often do so to provoke a response, to test how much power they still have over your heart and mind. But when you master your emotions, you remove that power from their hands and place it back where it belongs, in your own. When a man expects you to break down, refuse to give him that satisfaction. When he expects you to lash out, surprise him with silence. Nothing confuses someone who has hurt you more than seeing you unmoved by their actions. They expect chaos, but instead they meet peace. They expect drama, but instead they find distance. Emotional control is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about managing them in a way that serves your growth rather than your pain. That is the way that drops you to your growth rather than your pain. It means acknowledging the hurt but not allowing it to dictate your next move. It means choosing to respond rather than react, to remain centered rather than be thrown off course. A person who cannot control their emotions is easily manipulated. They are pushed and pulled by the actions of others like a ship without an anchor. But a woman who has mastered her emotions is unshakable. She does not allow pain to turn her into someone bitter, nor does she allow betrayal to steal her joy. Instead, she channels her emotions into elevation. She understands that her energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who thrive on her suffering. There is something deeply unsettling to a person who once had power over your emotions when they realize that their actions no longer affect you. They start to question their own importance, their ability to control. They begin to wonder why the version of you they expected, the one that would fight, beg, or crumble, is nowhere to be found. This confusion is not born out of arrogance, but out of wisdom. It is the realization that your emotional well-being is not in the hands of another person, but in the strength of your own mind and spirit. The greatest victories are not always won in battle, but in restraint. The strongest people are not those who fight the loudest, but those who remain composed in the face of adversity. Mastering emotional control does not mean you do not feel. It means you do not allow your feelings to dictate your actions in a way that serves the person who hurt you. Instead, you use your emotions as fuel to grow, to heal, and to move forward with power. True strength is in knowing that your emotions belong to you alone and no one else has the right to control them. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, but only for those who choose to learn from it. When a man hurts you, the natural reaction is to see yourself as a victim, to feel broken, betrayed, or even unworthy. But what if I told you that pain is not meant to bury you, it is meant to build you? Every great woman in history, every person who has ever risen beyond their struggles did not escape pain. They transformed it. The difference between those who stay stuck in their hurt and those who rise above it is simple. Some allow pain to define them, while others use it to redefine themselves. When someone wounds you, they expect you to carry that pain as a burden. They expect you to remain trapped in the cycle of regret, self-doubt, and emotional turmoil. But the most powerful thing you can do is take that pain and turn it into a platform for something greater. Instead of dwelling on the betrayal, ask yourself, how can this pain push me forward? What lesson is hidden inside this suffering? Inside this suffering, pain is not just an obstacle, it is an opportunity. It reveals your strength, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to grow in ways comfort never could. A woman who turns her pain into a platform is unstoppable. She refuses to let heartbreak define her future. She does not waste time seeking revenge or proving her worth to those who fail to see it. Instead, she invests that energy into her purpose. She takes the lessons from her pain and uses them to elevate herself, inspire others, and create something that lasts beyond the hurt. The greatest confusion to those who try to break you is when they see you rising, thriving, and using the very thing that was meant to destroy you as a foundation for your success. The world watches how you respond to pain. Some people allow it to make them bitter, while others allow it to make them better. The difference is in the mindset. If you hold on to pain as a curse, it will weigh you down. But if you embrace it as a catalyst, it will lift you higher than you ever imagined. The most painful experiences in life often birth the most powerful versions of ourselves. The fire that was meant to consume you can be the same fire that refines you if you let it. You do not heal by staying in the same place where you were hurt. You heal by moving forward, by creating something meaningful out of your suffering. Turn your pain into a purpose, your wounds into wisdom, and your struggles into strength. When a man hurts you, do not let that be the end of your story. Instead, let it be the beginning of something far greater, something that leaves those who hurt you wondering how their actions only made you stronger. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and unexpected responses to being hurt. The world teaches us that when someone wounds us, we must hold on to that pain, use it as a weapon, or keep it as a reminder to never trust again. But true wisdom says the opposite. Forgiveness is not about excusing what was done to you. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying it. When a man hurts you, he often expects you to remain trapped in bitterness, anger, or the endless cycle of seeking revenge. But when you choose forgiveness, you take back control. You disarm him in a way he never saw coming. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. They think it means allowing the person back into their lives, justifying their actions, or pretending the pain never happened. But forgiveness is not about them, it is about you. It is about releasing the grip that hurt has on your heart so that you can move forward without carrying the weight of resentment. When you refuse to forgive, you are the one who suffers the most. It is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The truth is, they may not even be thinking about what they did, but you are still reliving it every day. That is why forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength. It is saying, I will not allow this pain to define me any longer. The greatest confusion to those who expect you to stay broken is to see you at peace. When a man knows he has hurt you, he often expects anger, confrontation, or proof that he still has a hold on your emotions. But when you show him grace, when you move forward without the need for closure or revenge, it leaves him speechless. He begins to question why his actions did not destroy you, why his betrayal did not break you. That is the power of forgiveness. It removes the last piece of control they had over you. Forgiveness does not mean you forget. It does not mean you allow yourself to be hurt again. It simply means you refuse to let past pain dictate your future. When you forgive, you shift your focus from the one who hurt you to the one who is healing you. That shift is what confuses them the most. They wonder why they no longer have access to your emotions, why you are no longer seeking their validation, and why you have chosen peace over war. They expect you to be chained to what happened, but instead they see you walking freely into your destiny. The most powerful people in the world are not those who hold grudges, but those who release them. Forgiveness is the ultimate proof that you have risen above the pain. It is the evidence that their actions did not defeat you, but strengthened you. And when you forgive, you do not just heal, you rise, you grow, and you step into a future that no past hurt can touch. Nothing unsettles a person who has hurt you more than seeing you happy, thriving, and at peace. When someone wounds you, their expectation is that you will crumble under the weight of that pain. They believe that their betrayal, their rejection, or their cruelty will leave you broken, bitter, and bound to suffering. But when you refuse to let their actions dictate your happiness, when you choose joy despite what they did, you confuse them in ways they never anticipated. Unshakable joy is not about pretending that pain does not exist. It is about realizing that pain does not have to steal your happiness. Many people believe that joy is a reaction to good circumstances, that they can only be happy when everything is perfect. But true joy, the kind that confuses those who try to hurt you, is a decision, not a reaction. It is a mindset that says, no matter what I have lost, no matter who has betrayed me, no matter what pain I have endured, I will not allow my soul to be imprisoned by suffering. When you embrace unshakable joy, you take away the last piece of control that the person who hurt you thought they had. They expected your world to collapse, but instead they see you standing tall. They thought you would live in sorrow, but instead they find you smiling. They assumed their actions would define your future, but instead you are walking in purpose, in peace, and in power. This is not because the hurt did not happen. It is because you refuse to let it define you. Joy is a powerful weapon because it means you have chosen to focus on what is ahead rather than what is behind. It means you have decided that your destiny is too great to be held hostage by past wounds. The person who hurt you may continue to watch, waiting for signs that you are still suffering, that you are still affected, that you are still tied to what happened. But when they see you rising, when they see you laughing again, when they see you embracing life with new strength, they are left speechless. Their attempts to break you have failed, and that is the most confusing reality for them to face. The secret to unshakable joy is understanding that no one has the power to take away what they did not give. Your joy does not come from another person, it comes from within. It is built on a foundation that cannot be shaken by rejection, betrayal, or disappointment. When you truly grasp this, you become untouchable. The pain may have touched your past, but it has no control over your future. The greatest way to confuse someone who hurt you is not to seek revenge, not to demand closure, but simply to live well, love yourself, and shine brighter than ever before. When someone hurts you, the natural response is to seek justice, to make them feel the same pain they inflicted upon you. The world teaches that retaliation is the path to power, that if someone wounds you, you must find a way to wound them back. But true power, true elevation, does not come from lowering yourself to their level. It comes from rising above them in ways they never expected. The greatest confusion to those who tried to break you is realizing that their actions had no power over your destiny. Elevation is not about proving yourself to those who doubted you or making those who hurt you regret their choices. It is about stepping fully into the person you were meant to be, without the need for validation or vengeance. When a man betrays you, rejects you, or underestimates you, he expects you to be consumed by the pain. He believes that his absence or mistreatment will leave you lost. But when he sees you thriving, when he watches you step into great opportunities, greater peace, and greater strength, he is left in a state of confusion. The question that will haunt him is simple. How did she rise when I expected her to fall? Divine elevation is different from success born out of bitterness. It is not about proving a point, it is about fulfilling your purpose. Many people make the mistake of using pain as fuel for revenge, but revenge keeps you tied to the very thing you are trying to escape. When your elevation comes from a place of wisdom, healing, and purpose, it carries a different weight. It is not temporary or dependent on another person's reaction. It is a permanent shift into a higher version of yourself. That is why it confuses those who try to destroy you. They thought they had the power to define your future, but they were merely a stepping stone to something greater. The power of divine elevation is that it removes you from the battlefield entirely. It lifts you to a place where their actions no longer reach, where their words no longer wound, and where their presence no longer matters. While they are still stuck in the mindset of conflict, you are already walking in peace. While they are still waiting for a reaction, you have already outgrown the situation. This is the ultimate confusion to someone who thought they had control over you. They expected you to be trapped in the past, but instead they see you soaring into a future that no betrayal, no heartbreak, and no disappointment could stop. There is no greater revenge than living well, but even greater than that is realizing that revenge was never needed in the first place. You were never beneath them, you were always above. And when you rise beyond the pain, beyond the need to prove anything, you become untouchable. That is the moment they realize they lost their grip, but you gained your wings. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. When a man hurts you, he expects you to stay bound to the wounds he inflicted. He expects you to react in ways that keep him at the center of your emotions, your thoughts, and your life. But the most powerful response, the one that confuses him the most, is to rise above it all, not with bitterness, not with revenge, but with strength, purpose, and unshakable peace. You do not have to prove your worth to anyone who failed to see it. You do not have to waste your energy trying to make them regret their actions. Instead, focus on your growth, your healing, and your future. Elevate yourself to a place where their presence, their opinions, and their choices no longer define you. The greatest victory is not in fighting the battle, it is in walking away from it completely, untouched and unstoppable. Let them wonder how you overcame what was meant to break you. Let them question how you turned pain into power, heartbreak into healing, and betrayal into a blessing. And while they are left in confusion, you will be walking boldly into the life that was always meant for you, one that no past hurt can ever take away.